Thank you, Rabbi.
The 19th of June, Rabbi Furst, Mishna Berura.
Okay. All right. Okay. Let's begin again. We're in the second volume of the Mishnah Berura, Siman Kufnun Gimel. Quite a long mechaber and a ramah here. We left off in the Sifkat Lamed of the Mishnah Berura, which corresponds the mechaber Avol im hiskimu. You see where it says there in the mechaber im hiskimu zayin to the ear. Again, with the Machaber and the Ramah discussing the details of sales of various different things that belong to the community, everything from a Sefer Torah all the way on and down through and up to Beit Knesset. So basically, you need to know the general rule is you always, if necessary to sell these things, you only can sell them in order to use the money to do an upgrade in the kedusha. And then number two, it also the whether that the sale can be actually made and effective will depend upon first of all, if you're talking about a Beit Knesset, if it's in a krach, which is a large city, then it's more serious because that was built for the intention to benefit everybody, because people from all over the world, all other locations come to visit a city. It was in a kfar, in a village, so we assume that only the people of the village are really benefiting from the Sefer, not the Sefer Torah necessarily, but the Beit Knesset more specifically. So they can do it without necessarily the need to consult with other people. But in general, in all cases, you need to have the Zion Tuvi Be'ir, which is basically the town board of directors, and then you have what we call a Maimed Anshi, which is basically a town meeting. So you have to have the board of directors, and you have to have a town meeting correspondingly to make these decisions, whether you could sell it, what to sell it, and what to use the money for. So let's just pick up with we see when the Machaber it says with the Lamed for the Mishnah Berurah and the Machaber Avuim Haskimu Zayin to be both the Mecher.
Yep.
Okay. Let's see. Yeah, Eliezer, see, you could read if you want. Amir was reading them in the first year. If you want, you could take over.
Okay. Avalim Hiskimu Shule to the ear, but also Mecher Vahayu Mamed Anshe Ha'ir Rishayim Lahotzi Hamos L'chol Masher Yirtzu. So if the Zayin Tuveir approve of it and it's announced in front of the whole town, then they can do with which as they choose. Okay. Mr. Burr now?
Yes, Lamed, correct.
Okay. Aval L'chol Masher Yirtzu. Even for non-holy items.
Good. Right.
The Farish Fuchu Kolma. Ratzon wants to say, in this case, Dino Shiva Tuvia Ir B'Mamed Anshe Ir. The 7 representatives stood in front of the whole community. Shirashayim Acharkach, they have permission afterwards. Lahotzi Hamaos L'Kol Mashi Yirtzu Kivin Hirshuhu Lazeh. They have, in other words, they're permitted to spend the money anywhere they want, because they were given this right.
Yeah, they were authorized with this right. That's part of their jurisdiction. Yeah.
Okay. Aval im notnu lo stam reshus limkov, they'll give it just reshus to sell it. Oz hamos b'kedushas say, and then the money stays in its same level of holiness. So when they sell it, they give them permission to sell it to take the money for non-holy purposes. Then they can. Otherwise, it stays the way it was.
Right, it has to stay at the same level. correct.
Mochen Bepirsum, which was,
That's the Ramah. That's the Ramah.
okay. Rotzalomer says, the call Shemokran, Shiva Tuva'ir Befarhesia, anything they do in public, Velo Nimso, Velo Mi, Bino Bitsina, Velo Machu Bahem B'nei Ha'ir. They do it in public and they do it privately. Nobody complains about it. Mikre Mamin Anshe, it's considered as if it was done in front of the whole community and it's approved. The Tevas Olav or no Shekasa that the Ramah writes Shegara the Lishna who Ve'eno Medaktik. It's a flaw in the language and it's not exact. Gambe Mordechai Udarche Moshe Harich Lesa, and the Mordechai and the Darche Moshe go on about this. I
think it's like this. I think Gambe Mordechai Udarche Moshe Orach Lesa, meaning you don't find this expression used in those Torah either. Yeah, the different Darky Moshe Orach. It's not Orach that it was Myrich in the explanation. It's the Darky Moshe Orach. I mean, it's the longer version of the Darky Moshe.
Okay.
And Lacey, you don't find this text in those versions.
Okay, so it's a typo.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Afilu Banu also Mishalahem, even if they built it for themselves. This is for, who are we talking about?
That was the case where they were
in the cities where there are many shuls.
Right, and they built it even though they built it basically exclusively built it from their own sources and funds.
Okay. The Kivin de Me'alma Asu Lisham. They did it on their own. Mustama b'nei ha'ir hikdishu gam ladas ha'nichnasim.
Yes, because we can assume, right? We assume that also the people of the city also made some contributions as well.
Okay. Well, lefichach ein lahem reshus limkor. They don't have permission to sell it. Shemiesh echad b'sof ha'olam shahaya samuch le'ir hazos v'ragil v'kanis. There may be somebody in the world, someplace, who came by there and used the shul. And is his knowledge that the kedusha was made? Who eno maskim the mechirin? He sale. L'chein afilu hiskimu b'mechira shivas tovia ir. Even the zayin tovia ir approve of the sale. L'mad anshe in front of all the people in the city. Ein mechirason mechir. The sale doesn't count because this person at the end of the world that wasn't there to give his approval. The inu lo. Cafe livnei ha'ir ulefarno seha.
So there, the ein mechiroson mechir. Their sale is not a sale. The inu lo kaife livnei ha'ir. They are not subservient to the people of the city, right?
Vafil imratzu lahalos achar kach. Even if they want to take the money and use it for something more holy, they're going to leak those Mizeh Sefer Torah, Ubechai Gavna, since they wanted to buy a Sefer Torah or other things like this. God don't have permission to sell it. The Shema also Acherim Lo Yaskimu L'Seh, they wouldn't agree to buying a Sefer Torah with it. The Cain call B'Stamed, just general case like that. Lim Berura Lach Lan, the lo banu ella adaita dibnei irim levad. But if they make the condition that they're only going to do this based on the approval of the people in the city itself, Shehisnu Ba'ais Binyanam at the time that they specify the time they build it, or B'Shas Binyan Far, or at the time of the building it was a village V'Achachach Yisrabu Ba Toshim Harbe, and afterwards many residents became a city. Gamlo Seo Lahem Acherim. What's CU?
Also, they didn't go sell them. I mean, if people did not, even though other people did not help them.
Okay. Dino Kafar still has the din of a village, therefore the Zion are allowed to sell it. Kasa Morgan Avram Hashem Hamabit, or Morgan Avram writes the name of the Mabit. The field based Knesset Shorab, even if it's a public based Knesset, if people don't daven there, then you're allowed to sell it.
That's a big chiddush that if they're not using it, it can be sold. You know, just to illustrate the point, you know, the famous Meister with the Shule in Shanghai that was built decades before World War II. And who would have imagined that the Mir Yeshiva would need exactly that big Knesset with all its facilities for their help in their escape from Europe? That it just goes to show that you don't know since it's in a city, and you never know who's going to come to a city for what reason. You have no conception of what might take place in the future. So there, in the normal circumstances, you have no right to. It's part of the properties, the assets of Klal Yisrael. And so, therefore, when the Mir Yeshiva needed it, it was there already and waiting for them. Even though, according to what the Mabit, the Mishna was bringing down the Mabit here, that since my understanding was it hadn't been used for any particular purpose, and so really theoretically they could have sold it, according to the.
But I don't think. Well, okay, because I don't think Shanghai ever qualified as a village.
No, I know. Probably. No. Right. Okay. Good.
Okay.
Lamed Dalet.
Eno Nimkar can't sell it. Dafka Kishamakru Be'inyan Shalo Yiyah Achachach Beis HaKnesses. And specifically, if you sold it with the specification that it won't be Beis HaKnesses. Achachach Gam Kain Yishar Beis HaKnesses. But if afterwards it's being used as Beis HaKnesses, Sharab Nispalo, and the people are going to daven there, mutter. It's going to be mutter, I guess, to sell it. The Mainafim Lahani, the Asu Me'alma, Imabes Knesset Shaykh, Le'ilu or Le'ilu. And it doesn't matter if people are going to use it, whether the base Knesset belongs to group A or group B. Okay. So if they're going to sell to keep using base Knesset, then group A can sell it to group B.
Right. That's okay. So I mean, let's say it's a it's a Belzer's shul and they want to sell it to Satmar, so that should be okay.
Not that would ever happen, but that's a different issue.
Okay.
Elohim Kain Tola Oso Hulu. What are we talking about?
This is let's see, this is referring to Lamed Hay. This is Elohim Kain Tolo also Badasa Yochid. Meaning this is when if it came I feel a bona as Mishalan when the Eder Nimkar. Elohim Kain Tolo of Das. This is a case where a individual built it.
Okay, Hainu, this is the case. Chateau Beis Habinyan, Beis Al Daito, that one person was responsible for building the Beis Knesset. Al Kain Daito Hashuva Achakaf Shiva Tuva. Therefore, that person's opinion counts like the Zayin Tuva as on an ongoing operation. The Kolze Dafka Kishabana Banuhu Mishalahem. I mean, Nadvu is if they, I guess just for the members of the city. I believe Nadvu Acherim Lezev Emoel Ma Sheyachu Haim Badas Hayachid. But if people from outside the city, excuse me, people outside of the city donated funds to it, then the das of the Yachid wouldn't be considered at all. The Shema Yesh Echad B'Sof HaOlam Shein Daito Nocha B'Zeh. Because maybe somebody at the far end of the world would not approve of the sale.
Correct.
B'Askama to Tzibur, with the approval of the congregation. The Vadai Lohaya Daitam Jimkar Hayachid Beis HaKnesses Shalahem Lo Daitam. It's clear that the people wouldn't want the person, the Yachid who had built the building, to sell it without their approval. Hachi Ahani Das Hayachid, but this is the intention of the Yachid. The low by to the ear, that they don't need, or that the Zayin to the ear didn't come. Rak Mamad Anshe Levad, that he didn't do it in front of the Zayin to the ear, he just did it in front of the community. And now he was okay. V'gam lo motzi Anshe the Alma Akvo, and in that case, even in this case, people from outside the city would not be able to void the sale. In Beferish Talu B'das Hayachid, if it was clear at the beginning that the knowledge of this Yachid, Jakol Limkor V'Yasemar Sheyirtzu below Haskam Hamaskasam, that he said at the beginning that if he wanted to sell it, he could, and do what he wanted with the money without their approval. Ain't Sorak Lasos Haskam, they don't need the Haskam at that point because the Tanai was made at the beginning. Yain Bir Halacha Mashe Kasru Bezeh. And go see in the Bir Halacha what I wrote about this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very good. Okay.
V'huadin the whole Divrei Kedusha. I guess this is using the money to.
Meaning, like the same rules apply not just to a Beit Knesset, but all other things also. I think that the Rishon Kedusha, the same rules basically apply as well.
Okay. Perish explanation. Kagon Pachas Ukadome Hanizkorim Bays, such as the table or the mantle and similar things we talked about in Sif Bays. Dinum Kamo Beis HaKnesses, their din is like the Beis HaKnesses, Atzmo, Linion's Beis HaKnesses itself in this case. The Chol Checha, the Ihu Nase, Adaitu the Kuli Alma, requires everybody's knowledge before you make any changes to it. You go to Karabim, because the Krakim, like this is in a big city.
Right.
Hanach Nami Nasu Mistama, Adaitu the Kuli Alma. And
the assumption is it was made with the intention of everyone. They'd have to take everyone's considerations into bearing.
Right. Zehu Marsha Kosav HaMachadus the Chaber writes the Kulu Giri Bosser Beis HaKnesses, the policies Beis HaKnesses term for everything else. The Cain Kol Davar Hashayach Beis HaKnesses. Anything that's fit for Beis HaKnesses, going chatzros or mikvah, the courtyard of the mikvah. Amrinan Gamkain Kahai Gavin. We talked about it, in the same case. Lo motzi lemachrin or sagron lemonea mehem orchin. That you can't sell them. What is the sagron?
That you can't sell them or so to close them, soger.
Oh, okay. So okay. Or prevent them for visitors to come. Because Malcolm Low Chamir based Knesses. They're not strict to the base of Knesses. The Cain Mash and Isker the Sif Zeh that we mentioned the Sif the Shiva to the ear B'Mamet Anshe Ha'ir, that the 7 town council members of town council in front of the whole community the farm in the villages Yochim Roti Hadamim L'chulin, they can take the money and convert it to chulin. Lav Dachla Basic Knesses, not specifically money from selling Basic Knesses, or a few the Tashmishi Kedusha Hadin Kane. But even the other utensils in the Basic Knesset, it's have the same rule. After called Makam Yesh Chiluk B'nei, there's still differentiation between them. The Tashmishi Kedusha Ach the Mutter Hishtamesh the Mayhem Shenimkar B'Shivatu Ir B'Mamed Shlashtim Kabak Farm. That even the utensils, it's also mutter to use their money when they were sold by the approval of the town council villages. You call Malcolm Haim Gufa the Kedushaso Kaimo Biyad Halokech. But these objects, the Kedusha stays with them when they're in the hand of the buyer. The Kedusha Guf Ninu, because it's a Kedusha in the body of the object itself. They don't say the Chulin, doesn't go out to Chulin. Although basically,
not dependent. The Kedusha is not dependent on who owns it. It is, as you said, it's in essence the object has Kedusha in essence in and of itself.
Right. About basic Knesses, Tashmisho mitzvah, Tishmei mitzvah muta, you can use it for any sort of a mitzvah purpose. Lekaman, the sif test, we're going to write in sif test. Okay. Ba'ayin lekaman, the sif, b'simin kufnun dalid, sif gimel, b'mishna Berura, be'er halacha. Okay.
Yes, that was the all the other things we mentioned. They're all Berura, they all go after. They're drawn after, follow after the base Knesset. Mr. Berura explain what that means.
Okay. Excuse me. Dekuru Grire Basar Basic Knesses. All follow the rules of Basic Knesses. Hokli Basic Knesses. This of Salim and their benches, the Urios and the curtains, Shavavesa Knesses, Dinam Kabesa Knesses, they have the din like a basic Knesses. Yalkain, Kishe Machru, Shivatu Ir, B'mad Anshea Ir, Bikfarm, in the villages when the town council sells with the approval of the town, Bechol Nishtamish Maos, Bechol Mashiyir, so you can use the money for anything you choose. If you love Hakim, that's not the case. Low, you don't have this freedom. Kain hu lefi Pasha Divrei Magen Avram, Sha'atik Divrei Haran B'Shem Hayushalmi Al Divrei Shulchan Aruch. This is what the Magen Avram says, according to the Ran and name Yushalmi.
Go ahead.
Whether we're talking about the Shulchan, commenting on the words of the Shulchan Aruch. We say for Kovetz al HaRambam, the Sefer Kovetz of the Rambam, Hilchas Tefillah Parak Aleph, Kasav Denira Lo Afilu Bekrachim Bechol Lemachram Divrei Ran. That even in a big city, you're supposed to sell these Tashmishi Kedusha according to the Ran. The Dafka Le'inyan Mechiras Basic Knesses, Gufa Amrinin, Delo Machle Rabim Chelkam. It's only in the Basic Knesset itself, for the people who are not mochel their chelek, to the town council, that there's a problem with selling it. Mashain came Bezeh, which is not the case in the villages. L'chein Yochol Hagabai. It's therefore the Gabbai can sell it for the needs of the community. The money can go out to Chulin.
Good. Okay. Very nice. Now Lamed Tes, that's referring to the Ramah. Ramah said Yachid Sheboina Beis Medrash Beis Knesset. Or Yachid built the Beis Knesset. Nimna lekahal, Dina Kid Beis Kahal. And we gave it as a matana to the community, as a din of the Beit Knesset of the community.
V'dim keres al pihem levad. It's only through the community's approval that it can be sold. Lo be'inyan das hanoten b'zeh klal. and the opinion of the person who gave it to the community has no weight in this decision at all. Recalls that in all these cases, Perish, Hod Farim, in the villages, or Shel Krachim, Shetolo also B'das Yachid, or in a city where it depends on the opinion of one person or the decisions of one person. Kishiyesh Lahem Beis Knesset, when they have another basic Knesset, the Magen Avraham Perish, the Rosalam, they wants to say, Kishabanu Akshav Acheres, when you build another one now, about Kishiyesh Lahem Shnei Bati Knesios, you have two basic Knessetes, Mikodem, originally also Limkor Echad, it's also to tell one of them. About Lahataz, Beresh Simon, Kuftan Beis, Mutar Filu Ba'ofen Zeh. He permits even in this case. V'chein das Eliyarabba Sham Kavaseh, and the Eliyarabba agrees with this. V'chein Mashma from the Bir Gra. Aval Kol Zeh Dafka B'shoso Beis HaKnesses Meruvach. It's big. Who Machazik L'Kulam, and it's going to be able to hold everybody. That's not the case. Pasha to the Kuli Alma also, then it'd be also to sell the base Knesset, because then certain people wouldn't have a place to daven.
Good.
Kasvar Achron, the Achron writes to Filu, the Michram Hecha, Debanu Acheres, Tova Mutter Listar Harishona. Then if you sell it to build the second one, then you can close the first one. Everybody's going to agree. Nicha will agree to this. Okay. The Cain Eitzim Vavanim Merishon from the first basic Knesset Mutter. Listamesh Behem Lotzi Lechulun Alpi Shivas to the ear, B'maz Anshair. Then they can go out. While the second one's being built, these ones can go out to Chulin based on the Zayin to the ear in front of the community. D'may Ichvas Lahu D'may Alma Bezeb. The people don't care about these at this point. Kivin Sheish Lahem Makam Tov Lahis Pile, because they have a correct place to daven in.
Right. Okay. So we'll have to try and finish this up tomorrow. So we're at Mem Base right now. Make a note. I'll continue this with Mem Base. Okay,
All right.
very good. Thank you very much, Eliezer. That was great.
No problem. Have a good day, everybody.
Good day.
Okay,
Good Chodesh.
Miguel.
Thank you, Mayor. Have a good Chodesh as well. See you tomorrow, Mr. Shem.
Okay,
Okay. Thank you.
very
Bye.
good.
All right, quiet. Welcome. Bye-bye.